Certain Regal Cinema locations are implementing mandatory bag searches as a precautionary measure against theater attackers. I don't know what constitutes a searchable bag, if they mean purses or a bag from another store or just backpacks, because their sign, as vague as it comes off, says, "Backpacks and bags of any kind are subject to inspection." I don't own a purse and I've never brought a backpack into the theater or felt the need to, although I am guilty of having some of my other friends smuggle my candy in their purses. I did used to work at a theater a few years back, and there was a mall adjacent to the theater, so we'd have a lot of tourists. Remember, I work in a touristy town. They'd go and buy souvenirs at the mall, and then they'd say, "Oh hey, let's go see a movie." So they'd walk over to the movie theater, but they'd have their bags from these other stores. Well, we wouldn't let them bring their bags past the ticket terror, but we would let them keep them in the front office. From then on, I just assumed that all theaters did that anyway. However, I went to go see a movie last month, and there was this guy that sat down right in front of me with this big backpack, which I hoped was full of illicit snack foods that he was going to share with the whole group in the theater. But he didn't. He never opened it once. But I was just surprised that they let him in with the big backpack. But apparently Regal's security measure to check bags and backpacks is the first of its kind in the entire movie industry. And Regal is the largest movie theater chain in the United States, so there may be a domino effect following this. So after multiple movie theater attacks in the past few years, Regal has decided to beef up security to keep their theater patrons more safe. There was the 2012 shooting in Aurora, Colorado during The Dark Knight Rises, which claimed the lives of 12 people and injured 70. And during this past July, there was a fatal shooting in Lafayette, Louisiana during a showing of Trainwreck, which claimed the lives of 2 people and injured 9. Then last month in Nashville, Tennessee, there was a man armed with a pellet gun and a hatchet who was arrested for criminal assault for attacking moviegoers. There were no casualties, but still, the guy had weapons. Clearly Regal sees that there's a problem, which I think is important, and they're trying to ask the right questions in order to keep their movie patrons safe. However, the overarching issue is that it's not always clear how these attackers get their weapons into the theater. With the Aurora shooting, he was in the theater, he left through the emergency exit, he propped the door open, went to his car, got his guns, and came back in. But with the Nashville and Lafayette attacks, it's assumed that they had their weapons on their person. But would a backpack search have even really helped? Then it makes me think of that public service announcement video that came out all those years back of the kid pulling out all these guns out of underneath his shirt, out of his pants, out of his back pockets, out of his side pockets. Then he pulled that big one out of the leg of his jeans. And with theater shootings becoming a bit more frequent, it's really hard not to have it in the back of your mind. I can think of at least 2 times in the past few months where I was in the movie theater watching a movie, completely invested. I see somebody out of the corner of my eye stand up and start walking, and it completely takes me out of the movie. And I think, what if? And that what if is terrifying. But Regal isn't completely content with bag and backpack searches because they know that a bag search isn't going to prevent every single attack. They're proposing metal detectors, armed guards in the lobby, but these things cost money, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And of those moviegoers that Regal polled about a possible price increase for more security, about 50% of them said that they'd be okay with $2 or $3 more on the ticket price if it meant more security. But then as it went from $3 to $4 more, the percentage that agreed with the price increase dropped to about 10%. And the elephant in the room, if Regal searches your backpack and they find candy, they're not going to let you bring it into the theater, obviously. It'll definitely affect the crowd that brings their own candy to the theater in order to avoid the overpriced concessions, but will those people just not go to the movie anymore, or will Regal see a spike in their concession sales? Do you think Regal Cinemas is making a good first example? They obviously want their patrons to feel safe, and how long do you think after this other movie theaters will start to follow suit? Little mom and pop under 4 screen theaters probably can't afford armed guards, but what do you think they should do? Should they do the backpack bag check? Do you think it would really help? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, my name is Travis. Thank you for listening to what I have to say, and you will see me tomorrow. I really need a haircut. But then it makes me think of that public service announcement video that came out all those years back of the kid pulling out all these guns out of underneath his shirt, out of his pants, out of his back pockets, out of his side pockets, and then he pulled that big one out of his leg pocket.